technology is working.
Oh my God, thank God. It's always that nerve-wracking moment when you're just like, is this gonna work? I don't know.
Oh my God, every time.
It's crazy.
And here we are a year and a half into this kind of world, and still it's like, fingers crossed.
Hope the computers work. I actually was just looking, I got a new computer finally after working on my laptop for so long and just being like this on my couch. And I got a desktop and I was sitting here working on it and it said on the calendar, July 17th. And I was like, and I actually questioned, I was like, wait, is it July 17th?
Right, what happened? I thought yesterday was August.
I know, I got so confused and I was like, that, is it? I don't know if it's right. And then I said, no, that's wrong. And I clicked and I refreshed and I said, oh my God, because I actually believed it could be July 17th.
Yeah, I totally get it.
That's where we are in this world. Well,
exactly.
It's great to meet you. Hi.
It's really nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yeah, we've been doing these. We just started doing them, and it's a way for everyone to get to know you guys. You know, we have this technology. Like, let's use it. Let's try it. And so it's exciting for us because we, you know, now we get to meet so many more people. You know, before you had to go to the studio and took more time. Now we can just, you know, hit the magic buttons on the computer and there you are. So,
right.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And I just want to let everyone know you're with Mang'oh Yoga Studio. And so are you guys open right now?
We are open. Okay. So we've been open now since when studios were allowed to reopen in New York City. I believe that was like end of March, beginning of April. And so we've been open for a few months now, and it's really been so sweet to have the space re-enlivened with our community. And it's been, you know, and the folks who are joining us, I'm sure, understand and have walked a similar path in the last several months. And it's been a challenging year and a half for yoga studios and yoga teachers, and to be able to reopen and welcome the community back into the physical space and share practice again in that way has been such a tremendous gift, both for the teachers and our students. So it's been great. And, you know, I imagine you feel similarly. Being able to pivot online to the online format has equally been a gift.
Yeah.
And, you know, it provided an anchor of practice for everyone who's a part of our community, both the students and the teachers. And to have that in those months when we weren't able to share space is truly what got us through. And it was so heartening to have our community stand by us and to just keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up.
What was it like that first in-person class that you taught? Like what?
Oh God. Well, I cried.
Oh yeah. Did your students must have been overwhelmed too. Everything feels so, it already feels so heightened emotionally, but I mean, you were apart for so long physically.
Absolutely. And I'll share that, you know, I personally have been upstate during the pandemic. And so I actually went to teach, to live stream a class from the studio in March before the studio was even reopened.
Right.
And simply being in the space by myself was emotional, because it was stepping into that room, those four walls that have supported my personal yoga journey, and has allowed me to connect with our students and our community in such a deep way. And even being there by myself was emotional. And then of course, teaching my first class in person was a gift. And to like see bodies in space, and as a teacher to be able to respond to bodies and students in real time after teaching on Zoom and the live stream, which is a vastly different kind of teaching practice, has been beautiful.
Wow. So you guys have a teacher training coming up. It's coming up in
we
September,
do.
right?
We start in the beginning of September.
Yeah. So how is that going to be? Is that going to be online? Is it going to be a hybrid?
Sure. So it'll be, the bulk of the content is fully virtual, although now that the studio has been reopened for several months and barring any significant changes, we'll continue to gather. We'll continue to gather in studios. So in addition to the virtual content, we will be offering opportunities to gather in person and to, you know, get direct feedback from teachers when the cohort is practice teaching, and have an opportunity to meet with your mentors and study buddies. So there will be that opportunity, although the bulk of the content is fully virtual. We did our first virtual teacher training last fall, and it was incredibly successful. I mean, it is truly what allowed us to continue and flourish during the pandemic was the teacher training. And, you know, one of the hallmarks of our teacher training program has been its small size and its intimacy. But I'll say that we had our largest cohort to date in our virtual training last fall. We had 14 students.
Wow.
And they hailed from all over the country. We had one woman from London. So we're this small boutique, intimate, very neighborhood studio in Murray Hill. And so to be able to expand in that way was incredible. And, you know, when we started our virtual training last fall, I was like, you know, I wonder what the experience is going to be like for this cohort, because like one of the best parts of teacher training is that sense of community and the strength and the depths of bonds that are developed between students and with teachers. So I was curious as to how that all would feel. And this cohort, I mean, they really established those types of relationships even through Zoom.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was so heartening. And I think when we were planning our teacher training for this coming fall, you know, given, you know, we started to put plans in motion earlier in the spring, and at that stage, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this format was really successful. So let's move forward with the virtual format. Now we have the flexibility to add these in-person touch points, but we felt that it was successful, and students responded really well to it. And we felt there was still that the rigor, the depth of study, and the beauty of the community still developed in that way. So we're like, let's move forward. And so we're ramping up. We're gathering a great group of yogis together. We've got about 5 weeks more until we start. So
around the corner.
Around the corner.
So do you include now, because I took my teacher training in 2008, so it's been a long time, but it's funny what you were saying about those friendships and those bonds. It's intense. Like, you really, like, you're so exposed emotionally, and you're so vulnerable, and then you meet all these people, and you're all in this same virtual or physical, it doesn't matter. And you're just like pouring at least you're crying every day, you're in pigeon, like,
oh my gosh, completely.
You know, it's such a great, I'm still friends with a lot of the people and it's the same, they're all over the world now. And so
totally,
it's just so funny. It's like, you never break those bonds. It's really,
I actually just had a girls' weekend with two of my closest friends who I met during my advanced teacher training with Boston Yoga School now 4 years ago. And these women are my sisters.
Yeah.
And they know me. I gotta tell you, like, your yoga teacher training friends know you in a different way than even your family members, your partners. Like, you are stepping into a space that's so nurturing and so supportive, and it allows you to be incredibly vulnerable. And then it's within that platform, within that support, that this growth can emerge. And so those bonds that are formed are like lifetime bonds.
I think that's something, when I took my yoga teacher training, it was way early in my yoga life, I guess you could say. And I did it like some would do in that time. I want to learn how to do a handstand. I'm going to
totally. Yeah. I want to do all the fun arm balances.
Yeah. That's why I did it. And thank God that's why I did it, because when I got there, I was like, whoa, what's happening here? Like, it's a whole other level.
And that's what's so nice. You know, I have phone calls with each person who's interested in applying to Mang'oh's teacher training program. And, you know, so many folks, you know, they share their reasons why they're interested or curious about embarking on teacher training. And, you know, there are concerns like, oh, well, I can't do all of the advanced poses, or I don't know where my physical practice is. And folks are you're attracted to yoga. You're welcomed into yoga at various different points, and it draws you in different ways. And then all of a sudden you step into the teacher training, and then it's like this onion that's constantly peeling back layers and layers and layers, and the practice is just revealed to you. And I was just sharing with someone who just signed up for our teacher training that, you know, it's revealed to you in different ways at different points of your life.
Yeah.
And it ends up being exactly what you need at that time in whatever way it's showing up.
Thank goodness.
Right?
And I will also say this, and I mean, for anyone that's thinking about a yoga teacher training, it's a lot of people do teach after, but I didn't, and it's not always a great fit for everyone. So I did my teacher training. I came back and I said, I'm going to be a teacher. I love this practice so much. I rented out space, you know, and I would hold classes with my friends. And it took me a while to actually admit to myself that teaching was not for me. But there was something about the life and everything and the practice and the community that I loved. And so, you know, 10 years later, the magazine was born. So that's always something to think about too. Like, a teacher training is a great opportunity to just learn more about the practice, about yourself, you know, about what you need. And it's just, to this day, I'm still like, it's like the gift that keeps giving.
Oh my gosh. Completely. It really, you know, you embark on a teacher training for a certain set of reasons. Yeah. And then, you know, so often folks either step into teaching or they don't, or their relationship to teaching may shift over time, or they figure out a way, whether they teach at a studio or whether they teach their friends or their family over Thanksgiving. Like, it can be a part of your life in a myriad of beautiful ways. And it does not always mean you're going to go, you know, teach at a studio. And I just think what a yoga teacher training does, it's far more about what it can provide you in your journey of self-discovery, of reflection. And like, certainly at this moment over the last year and a half, we are all in a place of reevaluation, of reevaluating our relationship with ourselves, reevaluating our relationship with our work, certainly whatever kind of work you do. Yeah. And I just think it's an incredible moment to give yourself this gift, this opportunity to focus inward.
Yeah. And it's a gift that who knows if we'll have. I mean, you do not hope that you'll have this opportunity in this exact setting we're in. Right. But it definitely is. Do you guys ask your trainees, like, when they first start, what their intention is, and at the end? Because like you just said, it shifts. Like, at the beginning of a training and then what they get out at the end, it's so different. Do you guys go over that kind of stuff? Or?
We do. So it's, you know, it's one of the big, certainly they share that those intentions and those goals during their application, but we share that as a group during our opening circle, and then we revisit those intentions when we close. And it is a beautiful, sort of surprising thing to see how that can shift over the 10, 12 weeks of the program.
Right. It's truly, it's, I'm just floored by it. And I almost feel like, as we're talking, like, they almost shouldn't be called teacher trainings. Like, they almost should be like a life, I don't even know what you would call it, but like,
well, completely.
You know, it's like, I feel like if it was remarketed, so many more people would understand this beautiful journey they're about to embark on. Like, I always say, when I did my teacher training and when I went to graduate school, those were the two times in my life where I really just felt myself transform. It was the time I really spent focusing on what I loved. I chose it too. I said, this is something I want to do. I chose it and went all in. And those two moments in my life were just, they shaped me completely, and they just transformed me. Absolutely. And I know I've always wanted to do another training. And I know Frances, who's on our team, and she's listening right now, she's done so many trainings, all different kinds during the pandemic, and just has just evolved and just done so many things. And it's just, it's true.
I mean, it's really, you know, I can think back on my life. So I did my teacher train, my initial teacher training, my 200-hour with Mang'oh 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago in 2014. Yeah. And I'm sure you feel similarly about your teacher training, but you look back on your life and you look back on the trajectory of your life, your relationships, your work, and you see then how teacher training has created shifts for you within that. And it's really, it's like before teacher training and after teacher training.
Yeah.
It's really, it's been like, and I don't say this lightly, and I know that you understand that, like my teacher trainings have been transformative.
Yeah. It's truly, I mean, and if it's not, I mean, and I know some people, they were resistant within my program. Like there was a lot of people that weren't, obviously, you know, we're all at different points, but
Sure.
like, even watching them, like even if you're not going through a huge personal transformational shift, you also see it in other people too. So the people that they start and where they end, like I remember a lot of people like got married at the end of it. Like they went back to their partners and were like, yes, you know, like people quit their jobs. Like they came to a lot of decisions.
Right.
You know, at
right.
the end.
Exactly, because it creates this space. You know, we all have different things going on in our lives, but what teacher training does is it creates this space for you to start to think about your relationship to these major things and major people in your life, and allows you to gain insight in what kind of shifts or changes, and gives you the confidence to make certain changes. Because for so many of us, when we step into a 200-hour, almost the majority of us have never been in the seat of a teacher before. And being able to go through teacher training, find our voice, however nerve-wracking that is, and to be able to go through that process and gain confidence through that process, you suddenly can translate that confidence into different aspects of your life.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. Will you guys in any way, and I don't even know if teacher trainings, do you cover how to teach online? I mean, because it's different now. So is there a section in the programs? Like, is it just a discussion, or?
So we don't have a specific section about teaching online, but because this is the way so many of us continue to teach, I know that Mang'oh is continuing to do a hybrid model, even though the studio is open. So we have our iPads set up in the center of the studio, and so not only do we have students in person at the studio, but we have students who are choosing to continue to engage in the live stream. So there will certainly be discussion on what it means to teach online, what are the various skills that you need to be able to do that successfully. I mean, I'm still juggling this when I teach in person. It is a challenge to be able to, you know, tend to the students in the room and be able to respond, and then also tend to the students online who may or may not choose to keep their videos on. So it's definitely a juggling act, and I think we're all trying to figure out the you know, how to do it successfully and seamlessly. And like so much over the last year, this is all like a grand experiment.
It really is. So what would be the one piece, like for someone that's just starting to teach and they're doing it from their home, like what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them, if you could give them? Like, is it get a ring light? Is it, you know, make sure your ringer is, your phone is on silent? Like I was actually just talking, I was trying to set up my phone on the ring light that I bought. And I can't get the actual light to work. So I'm just using the stand, and I was like, okay, here we are. I'll just turn on the light in the hall. So.
Well, there are certainly, I mean, how do you pick like one piece of advice? I mean, there are certainly like the audio visual like aspects in terms of like making sure your lighting is solid, making sure that your audio is great. You need your, you know, even if students can't see you, students need to be able to hear you. So making sure whatever you use, like invest in a good microphone, I would say is vitally important. But I mean, for me, I'll share that when I've been teaching just in the live stream space, the amount of time that I'm investing in my class prep has increased, I think.
Oh, interesting.
And I think that's because, you know, for Mang'oh, and I think every studio is different, for Mang'oh, not all of our students keep their videos on during the live stream. And so as a teacher, we don't necessarily have that ability to respond to bodies and to respond to what students are doing. So I feel like I'm relying more on my own practice and my own body to be able to prepare or plan whatever I'm teaching. So that's a little bit, you know, even though when I'm teaching in person, certainly there's class prep and class planning, but I feel like I'm doing it a little bit more intensively when I'm just teaching online.
Yeah. I mean, there's all these new things you need to, like, I always practice with music. That was something, I had learned that way. I had always taken a class with music. And then when we started doing Zoom classes, suddenly there was no music. And I was like, oh, whoa, another change. I don't know if I'm ready for another.
Right.
And then they started, oh, here's the Spotify list. And then they would include that. And then you had the option for music. So it was so interesting how everything changed, even just the sounds that, you know, and a lot of my teachers that I'd been to for years, they never demoed. They would just speak. And I was like, oh, you're doing it. Wow.
Well, exactly. And as a teacher, so I'll say one of the sort of anchors of the Mang'oh approach, and I'm sure lots of folks, the 200 hour is guided in the same way. Like I had only been in the habit of demoing if something was challenging or something was confusing. Like if I said something and folks were like, so that's when I'm like, okay, my words, I need to use more than just my words. So that's when I would demo pre-COVID. And so suddenly we go from that to doing it. And so the other thing that I think we all as yoga teachers in this time have had to adjust, it's like all of a sudden we're speaking and we're doing it at the same time. I remember the first couple of times I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of breath. It's like sweating.
And I remember watching my teachers and being like, wow, you're not even out of breath. And maybe they were just acting really well, but I was like, whoa,
teacher secret, we were definitely out of breath.
It was amazing. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, you know, so it's so interesting to see what's coming next with yoga and with studios and
completely. And I mean, I have this conversation. So our studio is run by two incredible sisters, Erica Whalen and Cynthia Rayner. And Cynthia and I have been talking, and we've been so interested to observe what's happened in terms of our student base. Like when the studio reopened, we were like, oh, what's going to happen with the live stream, with people engaging in live stream? And folks have continued. Like we have our sort of like anchor folks, our anchor cohort is like continuing to just do live stream for whatever reasons. Yeah. And it's been interesting to think about how long that will be sustained. And I know a lot of people are like, this is more convenient. Yeah. You know, I don't have to budget in a commute to and from the studio. I can just take my hour-long lunch break, 12 to 1. That's all that's the only thing I need to devote to yoga for that particular day. You know, a lot of, particularly given what the evolution of the Delta variant and the virus has been over the last couple of weeks, that I'm sure may encourage people to continue to live stream. So I think it'll continue to be around.
And like you said, now you have students in London. I mean, and they're going to stay with you. I mean,
oh yeah.
How did they find out about your studio? Do you think they were
So this woman in London, her name is Jo, and she's fantastic. And, you know, she called me up last summer, and she had been to New York. She had visited New York, you know, a couple of times for work over the couple of years prior. And she stayed, you know, Mang'oh is in Murray Hill on 39th between 1st and 2nd. So not only is it, you know, very close to, you know, it's within a residential neighborhood for sure, but it's very close to the Hyatt Hotel and the Hilton Hotel right there. And so we do get a lot of folks who are just coming in, who are just visiting. Right. And she had come in, she stayed at a hotel. Wow. The hotel concierge recommended Mang'oh. Amazing. She came, and that was it. When she had this moment to invest in her self-study and her development and her yoga practice. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the studios in London were not yet open and not yet doing teacher trainings. Yeah. She reached out to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's so interesting too, because I hadn't thought about we were also focused on what was happening here in our community. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even pay attention to like London studios or what was happening internationally. Like we all got hit hard in different ways at different times. So it's so interesting to see. Yeah. I mean, they might not have even had that option then.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Wow. So it's been such a heartening thing to to think about, you know, our Mang'oh community is so sweet and so intimate, and it's fun. You know, I had lived in the neighborhood in Murray Hill for a number of years, and it really, you know, neighborhoods in New York do feel like small towns, but I think particularly having Mang'oh be my yoga home and living there, like on the street, I would constantly run into our students, or in the restaurants or in the bars, I would like run into our students, and that's just, it's been so lovely. But then, like, how cool is it that in this period where we've all felt isolated, to then be able to expand and reach so far beyond our borders is tremendous.
Cool. We couldn't have even imagined that. Like,
no.
I remember it was probably 3 years ago, someone had suggested Zoom to me for because we were doing team meetings, and they said, "Oh,
you're like, what's Zoom?"
I actually said that. I was like, I don't know what kind of magicianry you're talking about. I have no idea what that is. And I was like, a lot of people, I was like, no, in person is better. And, you know, but now it's a great option to have both. Like, I actually, you know, when you were saying about the live stream, I have a day job. So I do the magazine because I love it, and it's something that I'm super excited. And since I couldn't teach yoga, so this is my like yoga outlet. And I, my office is still closed. So for a lot of people, we never know when we're going back. So the live stream options are amazing, you know, and our workday can, like, I adjust my workday around things like that. So I hope, don't ever stop offering it, because
no, I don't think we will. I think it's here to stay. And it's what's also been interesting for me. I have private clients who I've been able to continue to see, excuse me, online throughout the pandemic. And Zoom has been able to facilitate that. And for one of my private clients, she, you know, I had gone from seeing her 1 to 2 times a week to 4 times a week, because, and like, God bless her, thank you know, like all the gods for this woman. I'm so grateful for her. And she has been able to deepen her practice and increase the time that she's devoting to our work together because of this technology. And that's incredible.
It's transformative.
Thank
God.
Thank God, right? I mean, Lord knows, it's like, thank God for my yoga practice during this past year and a half.
And it's so funny, like I was telling a friend of mine, it has changed. So, like, I also find that it's harder for my body to do really long classes. Like, I had to adjust so many things. Like, shorter classes more often work better for me. So I feel like also letting people know that just pay attention to things like that. You know, if you can only do 20 minutes of a class, that's great. But I think teacher trainings are amazing no matter what. So I'm going to wrap it up because I know you have things to do. But
my gosh. Well, this has been such a joy and such a pleasure. So fun.
Let people know how to find you guys. You're at Mang'oh, and you have a teacher.
We're at Mang'oh Yoga. Our teacher training kicks off in the beginning of September. Our first live stream weekend is September 11th, 12th. So there's still plenty of time to sign up. You know, I'd love to chat with anybody who is interested. You can find me on Instagram, andrea.lodico. And the studio is open for in-person classes and live stream classes. So do come find us. And it's been a joy to connect with you and a joy to connect with your audience. So thank you for having me.
We'll post this on our YouTube page. I'll send you the link, Andrea.
Oh, awesome.
You know, everyone, support our community, support our teachers, support our studios. They've, like a lot of people, they've been through the ringer. And so they're open now. They want your love. They're ready. They're running. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Have a great one. Bye.
You too. Bye.